Hello there, Ray here, and I'm joined by a Squared.
Hello.
We're going to show you how it's possible to get these crazy glitched mobs, like the one behind us, which has no weapon on it, in survival, and other crazy properties that these things have. We discovered this trick while recording the previous video where we showed how you can get stacks of up to 2.1 billion glass bottles in a single item stack. And we discovered when we give those zombies those glitched out items that were in stacks that were so high they were invisible. They turned out that when unloading, they did not save those items, but the part that we did not mention in the previous video is that the zombies would keep their persistence required tag. So when you give a mob an item, it will pick it up, and when it picks it up, it's unable to despawn. So it's giving a special tag called persistence required. And this way, when the player accidentally dies to a zombie and he drops all his items, the zombie picks them up, and he's unable to despawn. Therefore, you won't lose your items. You can come back, the zombie will still be there, and you can kill the zombie and get your items back. So with this glitch, the persistence required tag is kept on the zombie, even though he doesn't end up with anything in his hand. Now, if you're curious about how the overstacked items worked or how the invisible items work, please check out the previous video that we did on it. I'll link it down in the description. This can be done in pretty much every version. We tested in 1.14 and Squared even tested as far back as 1.6. And you can do this with the stacked bottles. Once you have went ahead and got it overstacked, it's like this stack here would be able to show up on the zombie, but this stack would not. So we go ahead and throw that out. And you can hear him pick it up. You can see it there for a very short period of time. Now what we can do is we can unload these chunks and we'll fly away and unload them. And what that'll do is it will cause the items in the zombie's hand to be able to try to be saved by the game, but they won't be able to save them. And therefore he will lose those items. But he still has a tag. So here I just did the data of the zombie and you can see he is currently holding some glass bottles in his hand. So it says hand, glass bottles, and his count is -66. Now he also has the persistence required tag 1B, meaning he cannot despawn. When he gets unloaded, he'll lose this data since it's -66, but he'll still be able to keep this persistence required, meaning that he's unable to despawn even after the fact he's not holding any items on him. So let's go unload this guy. So now we come back to the zombie after an autosave occurred, and this will cause it so that the zombie's items will not be saved, very similar to that of the glass bottles if you've seen that video. And then we can go ahead and we can get the data off of this guy. And here you can see that where it shows his hand item, there's nothing in these brackets. You can also see that he still has the can pick up item 1, meaning he can pick up items, and he still has the persistence required 1, meaning that he's unable to despawn. Now this is kind of crazy because now you just got a zombie. He doesn't have no name tag. He doesn't hold any items. He essentially looks like a normal zombie, but he's unable to despawn. Now this trick can actually be used to get a wide range of different mobs that can be considered a type of glitched mob. So you can do this to like a villager zombie, you can also do this to a husk, as those type of mobs can have the pick up items tag without having anything inside their hands. So they automatically will pick up stuff. Now you can also do this to drowns, which also have this ability to pick up stuff. But you can also make some mobs that you normally cannot even see in survival. So you can actually remove the weapons off of some mobs which have their weapons. So different types of skeletons will have the bows, and like the wither skeleton has a sword, and pigmen, they will always spawn with swords. And it's possible to get rid of their weapons by using another trick that we showed in a previous video where you can get overstacked items. Now the way that you can get the skeletons without having anything in their hands, as you guys probably know, it's possible to give skeletons a better weapon, such as giving the zombies a better weapon. These type of mobs will always upgrade their weapons if they're able to pick up loot. So this guy, if I give him this diamond sword, he will be able to swap out his bow and pick up the sword, and he even has a small chance to drop his bow. So we got his bow back. And if we want to, we can actually remove that sword in his hand. So we can use the same trick as we do with the bottles. We can get stacks of a very specific number, which go invisible once given to him. So instead of just giving one sword, which the game will keep track of, if you would go back to version 1.12.0, like we did on the Protect server, you can actually get these overstacked, non-stackable items. So we got stacks of 64 of them inside this chest, and you can do the same kind of trick we did with the glass bottles. So what we'll do is I'll open this chest up, kind of face him, and I'll click 3 of these stacks together. So now I got 190 of them. I'll drop them to the skeleton here. They are invisible, but he will swap it out. He'll drop his bow if he can. That time he didn't drop it. And he'll pick up the swords. So now he has all the swords in his hand, but they are invisible. Now we'll do the same thing. We'll leave the area and wait for autosave to occur, and then the game will not save those, and we'll end up with a skeleton that has no name tag and is holding nothing and is unable to despawn, but he's still able to pick up loot. So now we come back, we can look at the data of the skeleton here, and you can see he also has nothing in his hand. And he still has the persistence required, so he will not be able to despawn, but he also has a can pick up loot. So I have this really crazy looking skeleton, which is a rare type, very highly collectible, and you can actually decorate him however you want. So this can be done with any type of item. Obviously, in future versions, you can still do this with the brewing stand, but in versions where you could go back to get these overstacked items, you can do it with any type of item. So you can even do it with like chest plates, like here. I can throw them on this guy here, and they'll be invisible. And then when we go leave and come back, it will erase those. So now that he's not wearing a bow or sword, or he's not even wearing a shield, you can go ahead and give him something else. So like this wither skeleton over, we gave him some totems of dying. We got rid of his normal stone sword, and now with totems of undying, he's unable to die if you try to kill him. You can see he just uses up totems of undying, and you can actually give him overstacked. And just like you can give overstacked amounts of the swords, you can also give overstacked amounts of totems of undying. So you can go all the way up to 127 totems of undying with these guys, and then that way you can kill them that many times and they still will not be able to die. Now just like the glass bottles, if you go over 127, they'll go invisible and they won't save. So it's possible to go over and then always keep it in spawn chunks, but then you'd have to make sure that your server never restarted. Otherwise, you'd lose that information about him. Now, this guy we gave a whole bunch of stacks. You can see every time we kill him, he uses them up, but he still has more on him. Now, we actually have one of these guys on the Protect server that we gave a whole bunch of the totems of undying to. Now, this trick pretty much works for any type of mob that can hold items. So pretty much every variation of the zombie. So we got the zombie, the villager zombie, we got the drown, we got the husk. Even works on the pigment zombies, which normally have gold swords. So you can remove it so they have no swords, or you can turn around and give them an item, such as we give this guy an emerald. And it also works on the variations of skeletons, since they also can pick up items. So you got the normal skeleton, you got the stray, you got the wither skeleton. Now there's another mob that can also pick up stuff, and this is dolphins. They have the can pick up loot, always one, so they're able to pick up loot. You see he's playing with some items right now. He's kind of shuffled them through his mouth, and then he drops them again. Now even though they can pick up items, they're never given the persistence required tag. So therefore, it's not possible for them to have the same thing occur to them, where you can make it so they're unable to despawn other than giving them a name tag. So when working with these overstacked items and putting them through portals, if you work with stacks of like 127, if I throw this into the water and take it into the portal, it will appear on the other side. But if you would go over into stacks that are invisible, like 190, if I throw that in there, it's invisible when I see it. And it also went through there, but as soon as it tries to go through, none of it ends up on the other side. Like the game is not able to keep track of it. So the overstacked items of 190 never make it over into another side and are just deleted. Now gateway portal is a little bit different. I'll go ahead and throw some invisible items into this gateway portal. You can see they have showed up and they should end up over here. And you see I picked them all up. I got my 3 stacks. Because gateway portals, they go in between the same dimension. They're not like other types of portals which go to different dimensions. And there's a lot of bugs that actually occur when you try to go between different dimensions. Such as players, when they throw a projectile, the projectile is given a tag so it knows who threw it. And the reason for that is just in case it kills something, then it's considered killed by that player. And when you throw a projectile through these type of portals, it will not keep track of that. And it's actually a bug. I do have a bug report on it, and I really like it if you guys would upvote that, because if that would be fixed, there's quite a bit more that you could do with these mechanics. So this means you can get all those variations of mobs with nothing in their hands or nothing on their body without no name tag, and they're unable to despawn. These are going to be a really cool thing to collect up on the Protect server, and I'm really excited to get these guys in some nice display cases showing them off. Now this also means it's possible to get rid of some mobs with armor on them. So if you have like a mob like this, you could give them like a sword to get rid of that, and you could give them like some better swords that would get rid of that sword. And you can kind of do this to get rid of any type of armor or weapon that they have, as long as it's not the most valuable armor that they accept. Now when you're working with these glass bottles that you're stacking inside of the brewing stand, if you have forge, it's not going to show up that they're getting stacked inside of here. And also when you're like trying to move stacked items around like this, it's not going to show that these numbers getting higher in your cursor right here. So that's something to pay attention to when using Forge. And that's just a visual glitch. They are actually getting moved around. We also had to record this in our 1.13 testing world, because our 1.12 testing world has the carpet mod on it. And the carpet mod was preventing any of the overstacked swords from working on these mobs. So we're unable to do anything like this, where we're able to drop them overstacked swords and have them pick it up, and then have them lose the other items. And we're not quite sure why, but it didn't work on there, so you're going to have to make sure not to use a carpet mod. Now the same thing can kind of happen when you hand them to a zombie and send them to the portal. So if you give them less than 128, then you'll see him on him and he goes through. He'll actually show up on the other side with that many. But if you would give them over that amount, so let's say if we give 180 or 190, so we give this guy 190, picked him up, you just seen that visually, and you send him through, the zombie will still make it to their side, but the items he's holding will not. So villagers also have an inventory, and you can try to give them overstacked. So if I click here, this is actually 127 seeds. If I drop them, what the villager will do is he'll pick them up, but he'll act just like a hopper, where he will only take in 64. So if we look at the information, you can see that in his inventory, he's only picked up 64, and all the rest just got deleted. Very similar to like we seen in the previous video, where we dropped bottles on a hopper, and it only took 64, and everything else got deleted. Man, look at that thing whacking. He has a bone in his hand. That's a large bone. I guess because the wither is large, what he's holding is also very large. Yeah, I think so. I don't know about his shield. I think, yeah, his shield is also larger too. Because we also gave one of these guys a dragon head.
Yep.
Oh yeah, there it says. So when they kill you, it says that he was killed by a wither skeleton, and it says using a club. So if you hold over with your extra information, so F3 and H, it shows the name, when it's been renamed. It also shows what it is. And it even shows the NBT tags, which is kind of cool. So you can really pimp out your different types of mobs with some pretty cool gear, and you can even get them to kill you and have a special name, where typically if you try to do this with this guy, he wouldn't hold any items other than like a sword or like a bow, depending on what type of skeleton it is. Some very unique mobs that you can get in your very own survival world, maybe even show them off to your friends. We'll provide the world download to this world in the description if you want to check it out in more detail. Big thanks to Square for helping me. I'd like to thank you guys for watching, as well as if you guys like to see more crazy glitches like this for Vanilla Survival, be sure to go ahead and subscribe and hit that bell button to get notifications. And if you did enjoy this video, go ahead and like it and share it with someone else. And if you have any cool ideas that you think we can use these type of mobs for, tell us down in the comments. We're really curious. Bye-bye.
Bye.